Okay. Hello. No one there yet. That's okay. I'll just wait. Okay, it doesn't look like we've got anyone live today, but that's okay. Hi, I'm Jo Hilda and welcome back to Through a Handler's Eyes. Today, I want to talk about how we're going to navigate the festive season with our assistance dogs and about some of the ways that Rory and I have done it in the past and what's happened this month. The holidays are great, but they can come along with a lot of challenges, especially for us handlers and assistance dogs. Um, I'd love to hear how you guys have handled this time of year. Just put it in the comments, whether it be on the live or in the podcast. So, first of all, I'm going to do some feedback from last month's um, live. Sorry, do some feedback from last month's live before we dive in. And this is about last month was about dealing with trolls, and I have had a lot of feedback, particularly from people with small assistance dogs that have had their dogs picked up and just picked up and cuddled, and which is not a good thing. I have not experienced that because Rory's quite a big dog, and it's really difficult when the public won't uh, pay attention to what you want. So for me, having a plan is the key thing. Now, if someone tries to touch Rory, I just say, leave it. And it's not really for Rory, it's for the person. Um, and I also have a card that I carry with me when I'm out and about. And if I am just don't have the energy to engage, and this is my little card, and it says, hello, my disability makes it difficult for me to communicate sometimes. Today is one of those times. I'm not being rude. I need all of my brain power just to function. My assistance dog is a Labradoodle, and he is trained to help me with a variety of issues. Our access rights are protected under the Federal Disability Discrimination Act 1992. Please don't be offended. I just want to do my business and go home. And this little card has helped me so much with people who want to talk to me when I'm not in a place where I can talk to them. What about you? Have you come up with plans for handling these situations? Stick it in the comments and we'll see in a little bit how people have coped. Now, what we want to talk about today is getting through the silly season with our assistance dog. There's lots of different things, different challenges that come up at this time of year for us that are for everybody. But when we're trying to navigate this time of year with our assistance dog as well as our disability, it's really can be challenging. So there's lots of things. There's the aisles are usually more crowded. People are even more pushy than usual. My biggest thing is navigating through crowds. Rory is trained to stay close to me and block people from bumping into me, which helps. But there have been times when we've been stuck in long lines just at the supermarket, but at this time of year too. And it takes a lot of patience. Um, I am very blessed. I haven't had a lot of access issues, but the couple that I have had have happened around this time of year when it has been really busy and everyone is just overwhelmed anyway. So, what's been the biggest challenge for you guys? What do you do? Have you faced any access issues? What's worked for you to make shopping easier, whether that be your food shopping or your gift shopping, any type? Um, I like to go at quieter times. I've taught Rory to position himself between me and other people so that I can get a bit of space in busy aisles. I always carry treats with me, and in case things are getting a bit hectic and I need to use something to distract him a bit. Um, the disability toilet is a great place at normal shopping times, but at this time of the year, it is fantastic. You can go in there, you can decompress, you can give your dog a drink, um, and you've got that little bit of extra space. Some shopping centres also have ambulatory toilets that are just a bit bigger than a normal toilet cubicle, again giving you that little bit of space where you can decompress. Toilets are great for that because it's people have an expectation of privacy in a toilet, so it's a good place to be if you just need to decompress or get away from those crowds. Now, at this time of year, there's also Christmas carnivals and markets, Christmas markets, and other festive events. Where I live, we have Christmas markets and Santa Claus and fireworks and things like that. This year it's on the 14th, and it's great. I love it, and I generally let Rory be a dog at that time. However, he still works. He still knows that if I need him, he's there. Um, they can be really challenging too because they're usually in an open area, like at least in a supermarket or a shopping centre, you can duck behind something to get away from crowds of people. But they're usually in an open area, lots of noises, lots of weird sights. A couple of years in a row out here, we've had lovely stilt walkers with butterfly wings and movement and lots of singing and just kids squealing and noise. And it's good to, Rory's used to it. He's been going to it since he was a puppy. But one of the things that I used to desensitize him a bit is YouTube. And you can find 8 hours of anything on YouTube, and I have found lots of loud noises and played those in the background while I've been playing with him or feeding him or doing something else fun. So our assistance dogs need to be a bit more desensitized to these things, and they're there to help us, but we're there to help them as well. Now, another big challenge is overstimulation, because with all of that noise, with all of those people and squealing and smells, because there's usually lots of food and all sorts of things going on, and lots of other dogs in my town's instance, they always have other dogs there because it's a public event. So overstimulation can be a really big thing for us and our assistance dog. So I keep an eye on him. for stress. If I think he's getting a bit overwhelmed, I'll either go back to the car for a little while or find a spot to sit down and have a drink and give him a drink of water or a couple of treats just to have a bit of a decompression. It can be very challenging. So how do you go about getting your dog ready for these types of things? Loud, crowded holiday events. Have you got any routines or tools that are really good for you? I use some calming things, deep breathing, because that not only relaxes me, it relaxes Rory too. I get him to look at me while we're doing that. Do you have any particular challenge you'd like to talk to us about and get some feedback on and see if we can find some help? I did a search on YouTube for shopping centres at Christmas and Christmas parades, and they are fantastic for this sort of thing because you can get your dog used to, I know it's not the full experience, but you can get your dog used to all those sounds and lights and stuff, and you can help them be a bit prepared. That's one less stress that they're going to have. Like I said, YouTube, even when Rory was a puppy, YouTube's great for so many things. Fireworks, street. You can even get 8 hours of gunfire on YouTube, which amazes me. But if you've got a hunting dog, they may need to be desensitized to gunfire. I always bring Rory's mat so that when we do sit down and have coffee, he knows his space. That's his space, and he knows he's safe in that space. So I'd love to hear some of the things you guys do. We've only got 3 people on live at the moment, but that's fine. I started with no one, so we're 300% up. Now, one of the really important things about Christmas or this time of year is the food, because there are lots of food that we may not have on an everyday basis. Some people don't eat ham during the year, they'll have it at Christmas time. Fruit cake, puddings, different things that have got sultanas and grapes and chocolate and xylitol, which is really deadly. Really deadly, can be really deadly for dogs in general. So this is not just for assistance dogs, it's for all dogs. We need to remember that while ham and other salty, fatty meats might be nice in a little tiny bit, they're not always, they're not good for them any more than having a lot of them are good for us. So they can result in pancreatitis, dehydration, lots of different things. And don't forget, bones, cooked bones are really bad, whether they are poultry or lamb or beef, because they splinter. They're no good for our dogs. So if we're having people at our place, maybe we could have some treats out for our friends to give our dogs, because if your friends are anything like mine, they like to give my dog something special because he's a bit of a love bug. And it's important too to keep lots of fresh water around the house. And if you go to a family member's or a friend's over this time to parties or whatever, you can make sure you have your dog's water dish there for them. It's also okay for our dogs to opt out of that stuff. If we don't need as much of their support because we have other people around us, or for some of us that doesn't work because too many people are very, very stressful. But if they're becoming over anxious or overstimulated in that Christmas lunch, go to your friends for drinks or whatever over the Christmas period, over the holiday period, New Year's Eve party or whatever, they can go, so long as they've got a nice safe spot that they can go and have a little bit of downtime so they're not feeling as overwhelmed with life. Now, I have some feedback from Lisa. One of the things she needs to think about is gate and door safety. People who are unfamiliar don't remember to make sure the doors are closed properly, or they come and go and not realizing that it needs to be done in such a way that our dogs can't get out, or that so we have to keep an eye on that as well. Okay, just back on our food topic. Christine has asked, how do you stop people from trying to overfeed the dog and not listening? Well, maybe you could do what I said earlier, I don't think you were on then, about when people go to pat. What I do in the shops, if someone goes to pat Rory, I'll go, leave it. And it's not really aimed at Rory, it's aimed at the person. So you might like to do something like that, and hopefully they will listen. It's hard though. It's hard to get other people to come on board, isn't it? Do you guys have any go-to tips? Any things around the food chaos so that other people might learn from it? But Rory, as most of our dogs are, excellent around food. But when someone in your house is offering it to them, that can become a real temptation for them. And after all, they're living beings. And if someone were holding a piece of chocolate under my nose, I'm not sure that I would say no. So we have to be vigilant. Lisa has given us some feedback. Maybe we could put a sign up at the entry to let people know the etiquette for our animals. That sounds like a good idea. And with that sign, maybe you could put a treat tin and say, take a couple of treats if you want to feed my dog, just give them these. Now, another big thing apart from food at this time of the year is heat. We are so blessed in our summer in Australia. As much as I have experienced white Christmases and they were beautiful, I really love our unique Australian / New Zealand summer Christmases. And we have so much beautiful food at this time of the year with our stone fruits and everything. It's wonderful. But the heat can be really bad for our dogs and us if we're not careful. So I don't usually go to outdoor events in summer because the heat affects my MS. If I do have to, I take plenty of water for both Rory and myself, find a shady spot, and I do cheat. I will go to a shop if there's one nearby and I'll buy 2 fruit ice blocks, and Rory and I will have a treat. And I hold his and he eats it while I eat mine. Cooling mats are also a really good thing. Okay, cooling mats and vests. Up here in Queensland, the vests aren't as good because they are usually evaporative vests, and anywhere where it's a bit humid, they're not as efficient. But you can still give them a try and see if that helps. But if you can't find a way to keep you and your dog cool, don't go. It's not worth it. It's not worth the risk for either of us, because of how it affects me. And dogs are very susceptible to heat stroke, so we have to be extra vigilant. Now, I have another prop today. try not to forget your dog's feet in all of this. I know they're dogs and they walk outside all of the time. However, there's lots of paved areas, and if you're going out on a hot day and there's a paved area, that paving can be 3 or 4 times hotter than the air temperature, especially if it's been in the sun. So Rory has boots. They're called Pomprese boots. They're very good, but they're heavy, and every time I take them off him, his feet are sweaty. So don't judge me. I saw Crocs, dog Crocs advertised, so I got Rory a pair, 4 dog Crocs, a set of dog Crocs. Now these are really light. They've got airflow, so they're not as hot, and he's worn them out a couple of times, and when I take them off, his feet aren't as sweaty as with his regular boots, but his feet are protected from the hot road. Because I live in a small town, when I go to the supermarket, usually I have to park we have centre of the road parking, and if I can't get a park right next to the supermarket, we have to cross the street. So I really have to protect his feet. I have seen, sadly, the result of a dog treading on a hot road and having the soles of its feet damaged. I won't go into any more than that. It was horrific. So just remember their feet. Again, don't judge me. They're light, they're cooler than his regular boots. And you know something, because of the colour, you can barely tell, because he's nearly that colour. So you can barely tell he's wearing them. How do you keep your dogs comfortable in summer when you're out and about? Not just, obviously, we're having the Christmas season, and that's what this time of year is, but January, February gets really hot. So how do you keep your dogs comfortable? Have you had to cancel plans because the weather was too hot and you'd rather not go and you'd rather stay at home? I, again, plan outings in the cooler parts of the day, usually the morning, because by the evening I'm not functioning that well. And always water bottles, and lots and lots of water. I have very good water bottles that are insulated, and they will keep water cold for a long time. Shaded areas, and that's what I do. Like I said, I usually don't go outside. Thea has said frozen cooling mats and frozen bandanas for their boys when they're camping. That's a really great idea. I have been known to wet an old t-shirt of mine and put it on the dog so that it acts like a cooling vest. And you can also get it's like a sausage. Again, it's an evaporative cooling thing, and it can help a lot. So what about, Sue says, homemade ice blocks, good or bad? I've had mixed reactions. Look, this is my personal thought. A, it depends what you put in them. B, if it's their staple diet, not so much. Like I said before, I get Rory a fruit, like a frosty fruit or something, and yes, it's got sugar in it, and yes, he would have one of those twice a year. He doesn't have any other sort of sugar or anything like that. So it depends what you put in them, in the homemade ice blocks. Rory actually likes ice cubes. I've got the ice cube trays where the ice cubes are about an inch cube, and I will give him one of them, and he really loves that. Also, he has the occasional boiled egg, and in summer I give them to him cold so that it's nice and cool. Overstimulation during the holidays. that happens to all of us, and it goes along with the shopping and the festivals and the going to outdoor markets and all of that sort of stuff. I think that for me and other handlers I've spoken to, our everyday lives can get overstimulating anyway, and just doing a normal shopping run can be more than we can cope with on some days. So at Christmas, or at this time of year, whether it be Christmas, Easter, any of the times of year when the shopping increases, going back to school, all of those times in the year, but we are talking about Christmas. So there's it's that overstimulation can happen to them as well. Now, it's there have been times when I have been at a Christmas event, and the combination of music, lights, and crowd was too much, just too much, and I couldn't find anywhere to go. Again, my favourite go-to place, the loos. The public toilet, especially the disability toilets, are a great place to take five. Just to decompress, it's private. As I said before, you have an expectation of privacy, so you can have those moments. And you can take them when you need to. So keep an eye on your dogs. They're keeping an eye on you. So you keep an eye on them too. And try and recognize the signs of them getting restless or not focusing on you as much as you would like them to, because they're got too much going on around them and they can't focus. And take some breaks. Just take some breaks, because it's okay to do that. It's okay to do that. Now, yes, Lisa has brought up another good idea. If we want to use festive clothing, such as like a hat or antlers or t-shirts or whatever, make sure that we train or prepare them to wear that so they're comfortable, and give them what we call a positive emotional response to it. So what you do is you feed them as you play, or play with them as they're trying it on and putting it on and taking it off, so that that thing becomes now a fun thing. I had last year I just went to Kmart and got a shirt and changed it and made Rory a shirt to wear to a Christmas carnival at my daughter's church. And he was fine with it. I put it on him a few times before we left home. To be fair, he's used to having lots of different things. I have grandchildren, so I've desensitized him to a lot of stuff. But it can be scary for them, especially like if those antlers don't sit properly and move, or some of them might have bells on them, and our dogs may not like that sound because their hearing's much better than ours, and they can hear different pitches than we can, so it might be scary for them. So we just need to make sure they're comfortable in those sorts of things. Thank you for that, Lise. It's a busy time of year for all of us, and I think we need to give ourselves grace and give our dogs grace. Keep our eye out for their signals to say, I need a little bit of space, let's go and sit down for a minute. It always helps to have like calming cues, playing a little bit of targeting with them, gets them out of their heads. Sorry, I just saw a post that caught my eye. I'll tell you about it in a second. nose targeting on your hand gets them out of their head and into doing a task and can bring them back to you if they're a bit overstimulated. What signs of overstimulation do you guys recognize in your dogs? How do you balance your stress with your dog's stress? I notice that when I'm out with Rory and when I was training him when he was a pup, I was more concentrated more on him than myself. So I was more aware, and therefore my stress level didn't build up as much. Does that happen to any of you guys, that you're concerned for your dogs that much that your stress levels aren't quite as high? So, okay, I have a message here from Christine, and we have 7 people on. Thank you very much, all of you. There is a toilet where she lives. There is a toilet that won't allow dogs, including assistance dogs, unless they're guide dogs. And although it's against the law, how does she overcome that confrontation? I think education is the only way with most of the things I've discussed today, as far as other people touching our dogs and feeding them, and we need to be vigilant and make sure they don't get the wrong stuff. Educating people. Again, I have another card that has got the Disability Discrimination Act on it, and if I am challenged by anyone, I was actually with a friend who was challenged, and I gave the security guard that, and he went, okay, off you go. Now, it's not easy to stand up for ourselves, and I know some of us can't. We just can't. But maybe we can stand up for our dogs. So we just have to. I think we will have a live, and I may have a guest in mind for that live to talk about how we can challenge, how we go about addressing some of the challenges we come up with as far as the law and access issues are concerned. But just to wrap up what we've been saying, our dogs need to be kept safe from some of the food that we're having at Christmas time, food that's not usually as prevalent, and that can be quite toxic for our dogs, and we need to take care of them. The planning ahead for going out to the shopping centres or outdoor events, have a plan. One of my biggest catch cries is have a plan, and I have a plan for most contingencies. So it usually involves having, liver treats of some sort, and helping Rory through that, because that's how I see it, is helping him through it. I prepare for the heat. I prepare for it for myself, so why wouldn't I prepare for it for him? Our dogs give us so much freedom. Our dogs have given, I can only speak for myself on this one personally, but I know so many of you feel the same way. Rory, and previous to him, Charlie, have given me so much freedom. I want them to have the best life they can have. And that includes having a wonderful Christmas season and not ending up at the vets because they've eaten the wrong thing, or they've got heat stroke, or they have gotten scared by something and have gotten themselves tangled, or hurt themselves in some way, or their feet have gotten blistered on a hot road. I think it's important for them and for us. That's our relationship with them. Our relationship with them is the most important thing. So taking care of them at this time of year, and us taking care of ourselves too. It's really, really important. Um, so don't forget, just plan ahead, be prepared for the heat, and keep your dog safety in mind. And that goes for the food situation as well. Watch for overstimulation and try and help your dog through that. So, sorry, I've probably gone all over the place today because I'm a bit all over the place myself. But thank you so much for joining me. And I'd love to hear some of your stories. Oh, Elisa again, fireworks on New Year's Eve. The best thing you can do is avoid that. I thought I'd broken Rory when he was a puppy. I'd exposed him to fireworks and the smell and the sounds, and I thought we were in a good place in the environment away from where they were going to launch the fireworks, and I was mistaken. And he crouched down and I was in tears. I thought I'd broken him forever. And then he stood up and watched and wagged his tail, and every year since he jumps at the first one, which most of us do, and then he stands there and wags his tail and looks at it. That was a lot of work though. I would recommend, if you need to go to fireworks, get some hearing protection and practice with the sounds on YouTube. Again, it's doesn't have the smells of fireworks. It doesn't have that creosote smell, but it's one less stress. And when the fireworks happen with earmuffs on, feed, 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 and make it a happy experience for them. I'd love to hear your stories and tips, and I just keep in mind that everyone is doing the best they can, including our dogs. Have a happy holiday season, and I'll see you in January. Although in January it won't be the first Wednesday of the month, because that is the 1st of January. In January it'll be the second Wednesday, and I don't know what I'm going to talk about there yet, but I'll sort something out. So have a wonderful holiday period and enjoy your jogs and just build that relationship. Thanks a lot. Bye.